What's up, ladies and gents? This is Vornhoult here for another The Division 2 build video. And today, I'm bringing you one of my favorite DZ build at the moment, which I use um, to farm the DZ. Um, as we all know, the DZ is a PvP VE environment where you would be able to um, fight off NPCs as well as encounter any rogue agents. So with that in mind, I designed this build to have survivability, but also have enough damage to deal, hopefully to deal with other agents. But for the PvE content in DZ, this is well enough to finish any landmark that you can encounter. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So first up is the specialization. So I am using the firewall specialization. The reason for this is mainly because I want to use this Trigger Crusader shield. So with this shield, it provides us with additional damage with regards to enemies in front of us. And also, the reason I'm using the firewall is also for this talent, just the fiery response. So on armor break, apply burn to enemies within 5 meters. So this is a safeguard to when an enemy would be able to break your armor and you would be able to set them on fire, giving you at least a little bit of breathing room to maybe use an armor kit or hide into cover or anything else. And yes, do make sure that you place points in the spray and pray talent, which increases your submachine gun damage because this build uses submachine guns as a main weapon. And yes, everything else in here is pretty straightforward, so you can check these out yourself. And now we can go straight into the build. So for this build, I am using a two-piece Walker Harris and Co. Pieces. Also, I'm utilizing 2 pieces of Sokolov, 1 piece of Contractor Stuffs, and 1 piece of Grupo Sombra. So I'll be going through those in a bit, but for now, let's start with the weapons. So this build is using SMGs, and I am using one of the best SMGs, I think, currently in the game. This is the Dark Winter SMG. So this is a named SMG, which gives you Perfect Killer. So with Perfect Killer, killing an enemy with a critical hit grants plus 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. So we're stacking up critical hit damage and critical hit chance with this build as any other DPS build. But what's special with this build is that we are also stacking up damage to armor. So I rerolled one of the attributes of this gun into damage to armor. So that begins our damage to armor percentage. So we have 6% on that. So the other two, we have 13% SMG damage and 20% critical hit chance for this weapon. And then next up, we also have an exotic weapon, which is the Lady Death. So as you all know, Lady Death is a very good SMG currently in the meta. So this comes with breathe free. So for those of you who doesn't know, so when moving, gain 4 stacks per second or 8 stacks at sprinting, up to 32 stacks in total. So each round fired consumes a stack, amplifying damage by 75%. So kill grants 20% movement speed for 10 seconds as well. So you can interchange using either the Dark Winter or the Lady Death, whichever suits your gameplay. I usually go either or, mainly because the core attributes that we're going for is the damage to armor as well. So this also has 6% damage to armor as part of its attributes. So either or of these weapons you can use, whichever is to your liking. And then for the gear pieces, we start off with this Walker Harrison Pro mask. So I have 14.8 weapon damage, 6% critical hit chance, and 12% critical hit damage with the 12% critical hit damage mod. So this begins our first piece of the 2 pieces we have for this brand set. The reason we're using the 2 piece here is to utilize that 5% damage to armor that we get as a bonus. So we go on to the next piece of this build, which is the Walker Harrison Co. backpack. So this brings us to the 2-set bonus, and this backpack has 14.5 weapon damage, 10.3 critical hit damage, and 7.6 headshot damage with a 12% critical hit damage mod. And the talent for the backpack is Adrenaline Rush. So for everyone who doesn't know, so whenever you are within 10 meters of an enemy, you gain 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds, and this stacks up to 3 times. So this is very good in the DZ as well, because it also acts as a early warning device in my gameplay, because whenever you have an enemy within 10 meters of you, you gain that 1 stack. So whenever you see a stack come up in your armor bar, you know that there's either a rogue agent or an enemy nearby. And this adds also into your survivability, because if this stacks up to 3 times, you get 60% worth of your bonus armor as a result for 5 seconds. So this is very good. And then we move on to the chest piece. So for the chest piece, we are using our first piece of the Sokolov Concern. This gives us 14.8 weapon damage, 4.1% critical hit chance, and 5.5% critical weapon handling. I would have loved to have critical hit damage there, but we're still farming for that good Sokolov chest piece. But for now, this will do, and I have a 12% critical hit damage mod on this. And the talent for this is Unbreakable. So when your armor is depleted, repair 95% of your armor, and this has a cooldown of 60 seconds. And what's good about this is this syncs perfectly with what I was telling you about in the Specialization, which is whenever your armor breaks, enemies within 5 meters gets the burn status effect. So even if your armor breaks because of Unbreakable, you still have 90% of your armor back again. So that helps you recover yourself in those tight situations, which is really good, especially in an environment such as DZ. So that's our first piece of Sokolov Concern, which would give us SMG damage, plus 10% SMG damage. And then next up, we have the named gloves, which is the contractor gloves. So I've decided to roll a core attribute from weapon damage into armor for this piece, because since I'm using this mainly for DZ, I would need at least 3 pieces of armor attributes so that I will be able to survive any sudden attacks of enemies or rogue agents. So this is why I decided to have that 1 armor roll in this piece. So this always comes with 8% damage to armor. So we now have 8% damage to armor from this piece, 5% damage to armor from 2 pieces of the Walker Harris, and 6% damage to armor from our weapon. So that brings us to a total of 19% damage to armor, which is really big. And then one of the core attributes here is critical hit chance. So if you would be able to find a max critical hit chance or a max critical hit damage gloves for that, that would be good. But for now, I would have I have settled with this attribute. And then the holster, we have the Grupa Sombra brand set, because one piece gives us 15% critical hit damage, which is really good as well. And then I've also rolled the core attribute into armor on this one, and the attributes for this is 4.8 critical hit chance and 10.5% critical hit damage. And then the last piece, the holster, is our second piece of the Sokolov, which brings us the 2-piece bonus of 15% critical hit damage as well. And I've also re-rolled the core attribute into armor, and this has critical hit chance and critical hit damage as attributes as well. So that is the gear pieces that I have for this build. And now for the skills, the reason that we had chosen the Firewall Specialization is specifically also for this shield. So the Striker shield is a modified version of the Crusader shield. and we are mainly focusing on the damage bonus that we get um, whenever there are enemies in front of the shield. So with the mods that I have here, that damage bonus per enemy brings up to 11%. And all the other stuff here are fairly normal. I mean, pretty straightforward. And this is a tier 3 shield, which is the reason for that is because of the 3 core attributes that we have as armor. And then for the next skill, this is for your liking. So you could use like the normal pulse, the jammer pulse, the striker drone. So anything that fits your playstyle, I use the jammer pulse just on those tight situations where there are rogue agents attacking me, so that I'll be able to disable some of their skills. And yes, that's the build. So now let's go into the stats. So we have 76,000 weapon damage from the Dark Winter. We have 59.7 critical hit chance, 168 critical hit damage, and this would be further improved by the Perfect Killer talent. So that would be that could bring this to more than 200%. And we have that 19% armor damage. So yes, this is my build for the DZ at the moment. It's a very good build. I've encountered some rogues as well, which I was able to survive and sometimes kill. And clearing landmarks with this build is really easy as well. And I hope you guys like this build. If you have any comments or suggestions, do comment on the comment section below. And if you have any question or any suggestions on improving this, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe on the channel. And yes, thank you. That will be it. And keep on gaming.